It's your boy Jimmy Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing, reporting live from Dallas, Texas. I want to thank each and every one of our listeners today. Make sure to follow us on All Access Elite Boxing on YouTube. Hit your subscribe buttons. Make sure you're getting your notifications. Also follow us on All Access Elite Boxing on Facebook, All Access Elite Boxing on Instagram. And if you're on Twitter, make sure to follow us. Tweet me, or rather tweet us at All Access Elite. Listen, guys, let's talk some boxing. In recent boxing news, Shawn Showtime Porter recently did an interview with Fighthub Television or Fighthub TV, and he mentioned that he was looking into bringing 2 world champions into his training camp to help prepare him for his biggest test as a professional fighter against Errol Spence Jr. September 28th on Fox pay-per-view. One of the fighters he threw out there, obviously, was unbeaten, undefeated Olympian, 160-pound WBO World Champion Demetrius Boo-Boo Andrade. I was speaking to a lot of, people in the boxing world, and I said, hey, listen, what do you guys think about Andrade, coming into camp with Porter? I mean, is he a fighter that can mimic some of the tendencies that Errol Spence Jr. possesses? Everybody at least that I spoke to was half and half on the idea. A lot of them, obviously, Demetrius Andrade is one of the elite, one of the best fighters in the world. I think it can help Porter in different ways. I think he's an excellent boxer. Obviously, he's a southpaw. He's a big 160-pound fighter. He's undefeated. He does really well fighting off his back foot, throws excellent combinations, and knows how to move around the ring. But against Errol Spence Jr., man, it becomes very difficult because Errol Spence Jr. is a beast. I mean, has an excellent jab, excellent body attack, knows how to come forward, knows how to apply pressure. He can also box, does an excellent job of boxing, and it's just very difficult to try and mimic, what Spence brings to the table. I know I mentioned out there what would be some names, that could actually come in a camp with Shawn Porter and give him the look that he needs. I even threw Erickson Lubin's name out there. Even my boy John Vera Jr. Out of Fort Worth, Texas. Big 154-pounder. He's really swift. He can fight on the inside. Those were really the only 2 names that I could have thought of. Now, it's very rare, especially in boxing, where you see a world champion going into another world champion's camp to get him prepared for a major fight. I know that Daniel Jacobs, when he fought Canelo, brought in Chris Algieri, but that was just simply to bring him in for his nutritionist standpoint. But even Daniel Jacobs said that it's it helps with having another world champion in camp. Having somebody that you can talk to, that you can ask, certain opinions about, you can just feed off their energy. And when they're in camp, you're actually staying with that person. So just having another boxing head, somebody that's actually been in the ring, and you guys are able to talk, it kind of clears their mind and gives them that peace of mind. Shawn Porter, mentioned a little bit of the same thing. He mentioned that it's, him and Demetrius Andrade have known each other since the amateurs, since they were 16 years old, I believe, are excellent friends. They both want to help each other. It's rumored that Andrade is set to fight Canelo here in the wintertime, later on this fall. It's just one of those things where it's really unheard of. You don't really see that in boxing. And I think Andrade can give several different looks that's going to help Porter. But one name that was thrown out there and that was given to him was Terence Bud Crawford. And I would have never thought of the two because obviously Bud Crawford fights in the 147-pound weight division. He's the WBO champion. Porter's the WBC champion. But whenever you're in the fight of your life, you're going to do anything possible to get the upper edge. He mentioned that he was going to reach out to Terence Crawford and that he was initially he was a little hesitant into reaching out to him simply because he did not want to disrespect him. A lot of these fighters, when they become world champions, top contenders, they don't consider themselves sparring partners for anybody, number one. And it was, even Shawn Porter gave a story. He mentioned, him and his father would always go with Freddie Roach out there in Wildcard Gym and would spar. As he was coming up in the welterweight division, he would spar Manny Pacquiao. He was actually one of Manny Pacquiao's main sparring partners for his showdown with Miguel Cotto, as well as Sugar Shane Mosley. And he mentioned that in the last camp that he sparred with Pacquiao, which was the Cotto fight, his father told Shawn that, hey, listen, this is going to be the last time that we come up here and spar with Manny Pacquiao. And Shawn was like, why, Dad? I mean, I don't understand why. He said, because you're a top contender now, and, we have our own legacy to make. We have our own things to clear up here in the 147-pound division. You're not going to be able to do that when you're sparring the top guy at 147. So, that's just, I know a lot of fighters personally who feel the same way. I'm old school. I believe in iron sharpens iron, regardless of your, whether you're a champion, regardless if you're, homies or whatever the case, but enemies. I think it's important, man, that you got to work together to get better and to kind of, see where you're at. Now, I'm not saying that Bud Crawford should go in there, but it'll be very interesting. Obviously, the feud between Top Rank and PBC, will we ever see Crawford go against some of these top 147-pound fighters with PBC, the Danny Garcias, the Errol Spence, the Porters, the Manny Pacquiao, Sergey Lipinets, these guys, Keith Thurmans of the world. But I thought it was just an interesting piece to report, man, because, again, imagine if Shawn Porter has Demetrius Andrade and Terence Crawford to prepare him for Errol Spence Jr. Would that be enough? Would it give Porter a slight edge over Errol Spence? A lot of this is mind games. If this information gets back to Errol Spence and them, what is Spence and them going to do? You think they worry about that? I really don't think so. I know Errol Spence, I know a lot of the guys that he spars in Dallas. He spars a lot of big, heavy, strong guys. Porter he's not a very tall guy, but he's very muscular. He's just a very physically strong fighter. I know in the amateurs, again, he's fought in the 180-pound weight division, and he dropped all the way to 147. He was a standout athlete in high school. Played, I think he was a running back in high school. Could have played college football, but he decided to just go ahead and pursue his career in boxing. But, a lot of that physical strength that he still carries, from his legs to his, just his man strength, he still carries it. Obviously Porter hasn't really looked good against Ugas and a couple of his other fights. But I don't know, man. I think possibly working with Demetrius and potentially working with Crawford, I think that would really sharpen his skill sets, because I know Porter has a lot more to deliver and a lot more to show than what he's been showing in his last couple of outings. But nevertheless, man, I don't think he beats Errol Spence Jr. I think Errol Spence is on a mission to try and get that Manny Pacquiao fight. I think he's on a mission to make the Terence Crawford fight. And I ultimately think that Errol Spence Jr. is just going to be too much for Shawn Porter. But nevertheless, it's your boy Jimmy Blue. Make sure to comment on our video section. Tell us what you think. Is Crawford and Boo Boo Andrade enough to help Shawn Porter overcome Errol the True Spence Jr.? It's your boy Jimmy Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing, signing off.